Former Derby County manager Arthur Cox Cox received the Lifetime Achievement Award at the 2017 Derby Telegraph Sports Awards on Thursday night. Cox was in charge for 9 full seasons and is the second longest-serving manager in the club's history after George Jobey. They climbed out of the third division in 198,586 and won Division 2 the following season. Derby finished 5th in the top flight in 198,889. They have not finished so high in the football pyramid since. The Derby Telegraph's chief football writer Steve Nicholson has written about how Cox was the man to help rebuild the Rams. To fully appreciate the impact Arthur Cox had on Derby County, it is necessary to set the scene. May 1984, and the club was a wreck, reeling from a number of savage body blows. The Rams were at one of their lowest points in their history. Relegation meant they faced their centenary season in the third division only 9 years after being champions of England and just a matter of months after the club's dire financial position had reached crisis point. A winding-up order at the High Court was avoided at the 11th hour, but the future looked glum because the road back to where the Rams wanted to be appeared long and arduous. Derby needed a manager to lead them along that road. They turned to Cox. Arthur Cox received the Lifetime Achievement Award at the 2017 Derby Telegraph Sports Awards. Image Ian HodgkinsonPicture It He had started his management career at Chesterfield in 1976, where he stayed for 4 years and had just taken a Newcastle United side featuring Kevin Keegan, Peter Beardsley, Waddle and Terry McDermott back to the top division. Exciting times had returned to St James Park, but only weeks later Cox resigned on a matter of principle, and it was quite a coup for Derby to land him. He arrived at the baseball ground and found only 12 players, of which 9 were under contract. Undaunted by the scale of the task, he began to build. Former Derby County manager Arthur Cox receives Lifetime Achievement Award. He asked Roy McFarland to be his assistant, and Derby moved from the High Court to the First Division in just over 3 years. His shrewd signings included Rob Hindmarch, Micklewhite, Geraint Williams, Trevor, Christie and John Gregory, and Derby climbed out of the third division. They won Division 2 at the first attempt and 2 years later finished 5th in the top flight, above the likes of Manchester United, Tottenham and Everton. Derby would have qualified for Europe had English clubs not been banned as a result of the Heysel disaster. The Rams have not finished so high in the football pyramid since. Manchester City manager Kevin Keegan and assistant Arthur Cox celebrate winning the First Division championship in 2002. In a recent interview in the Derby Telegraph, he was asked why he dropped 2 divisions to take on the challenge at Derby. "The most important thing for me is that Derby was, and still is, a football city. The support was the thing. Every club I have been at has been a club that has meant so much to the supporters. Football is for the people." In 1993, he was troubled by severe back trouble, which led to his resignation. Arthur Cox received the Lifetime Achievement Award at the 2017 Derby Telegraph Sports Awards. His 9 years in the post means he is the second longest-serving manager in the club's history after George Jobey. After that, he worked with Kevin Keegan at Newcastle, Fulham, Manchester City and with the England national team. But he is best remembered here as the man who helped to rebuild the Rams, the man who guided the team to successive promotions in the 80s, the man who played a key role in returning Derby to the top flight and had them rubbing shoulders with English football's big clubs again.